today, taking into account that the official day was actually yesterday. And the Minister and the Acting Commissioner will reveal some details as to how many people have already interacted with ourselves, either via the e-filing platforms and those who may have gone into branches, but crucially, the number of people that we have communicated with upfront to say we know that you do not need to file a return, and we know how many people those were in 2016, and how many of those people were in 2016. Fidos Sali will take you through a demonstration of showing some of the things that we have made easy for this year in terms of this filing season. I will therefore at this stage ask the Acting Commissioner, Mr. Mark Kinnon, to come and make some introductory remarks. He will then be followed by the Minister, who will have some special message to the South African public. Commissioner Kinnon.
Thank you very much, Slingani. Privileged to be here. Just going to move this out of the way slightly that I can get my notes in front of me. Honourable Minister of Finance, I believe there are colleagues here from National Treasury, members of the SARS executive team, members of SARS management, SARS colleagues across the country, members of the media, and most importantly, our taxpayers. And by the way, just before I differentiate, all the above greetings are also taxpayers, even the Minister. So all of us are taxpayers. Working at SARS, we do not get a privilege to have a buy with regards to that. We want to inform South Africa today that tax season 2018 is open for filing. It commenced yesterday, as Slingani intimated, with taxpayers able to e-file their income tax returns. We did open the filing season slightly earlier, and we were just in the testing phase. And as of this morning, we've received close to 140,000 returns via e-filing. Thus far, our contact center this morning, we had received close to 4,000 calls. And for the last 24 hours, we've received close to 54,000 returns already since the opening yesterday morning, formally, of the filing season. The group executive responsible for branches tells me that they've had already 8,000 taxpayers queuing, of which they've served 7,000, probably grown since then. One of our branches had over 800 people in the queue already, which is quite considerable. We did launch tax season for 2018 on the 4th of June and announced that this year tax season will conclude on the 31st of October for non-provisional taxpayers and provisional taxpayers who opt to file at a branch. Provisional taxpayers who file via e-filing will have until the end of January 2019 to file the returns. That's as per the previous years. We have spent the last few months assessing what we can do better and how we can improve the taxpayer's experience. Allow me to expand on some of our objectives and initiatives for the tax season of 2018. We aim to reduce traffic at our branches, and when we engage taxpayers, the public or the media, we will be talking about e-filing and promoting our digital platforms for the filing of income tax returns. And that is why we are here today and why we started off in the contact center. We want to show taxpayers that filing your return can be an easy exercise and that you need not stand in a queue or make a special trip to one of our branches to file. Last month I shared that in assessing our operations we analyzed the volumes at the SARS branches, the reasons for the taxpayers' visits on the other hand, as well as who was filing a tax return and the filing channel that they were using. I shared the figures of millions of people who went to a branch who were not required to or could have been transacted over e-filing. We will be reiterating the following messages during our filing season. And this is an important message to get out as to who is required to file. A person is required to file a return, or let's deal with it negatively. You need not file a return if you have a salary income of less than 350,000 Rand from a single source with no travel allowance and such similar allowances from which pay as you earn has been withheld or not withheld. Very importantly, obviously, if you've got a business and other forms of income, like you rent out a property, etc., you have to file. But the message we want to get out here is that if you are earning less than 350, single source, salaried income, no other income, you need not file a return. Obviously, there are many people who think they may be due a refund, and that is why they come and file. And to see if they got a refund. We are not stopping people who have retirement annuity contributions from filing, for instance. We are not stopping people who have excessive medical costs from filing, because that will result in a credit. But for the vast majority, and if I recall the figures correctly, some 1.6 million, Fabian, that need not have filed last year, filed a return. And the result was nil. They therefore, and I won't say it's a waste of time, but they could have spent their time better if they had not filed. And that is what we want to encourage. We have communicated directly with the taxpayers who meet this criteria based on last year's data, and published a dedicated tax season page on our website to help taxpayers understand which obligations to apply to them. For taxpayers who are not eligible to file but still want to, we encourage that they use e-filing. Insofar as employers are concerned, and this is an important message, we have communicated with employers not to send prospective, in other words, job seekers, prospective employees to our branches to obtain a tax reference number. We are finding huge volumes of people coming to our branches who are wanting to just simply get a tax number. The employer, once you are employed, can do this for you, and there is a mechanism that they can do. Tax practitioners. We have communicated with tax practitioners to use e-filing. If we look at the data of last year, we had about 120,000 returns filed at branches by tax practitioners. And we are encouraging, and the recognized controlling bodies are engaging with their members to encourage them only to use e-filing. We do not believe they should be coming into our branches. There's a huge number of people, in excess of 800,000, who are registered for e-filing, who are still choosing to file at a SARS branch. And we want to really encourage people, if they are registered, utilize it. And then very importantly, and we will demonstrate this in a couple of minutes, I believe, for those, Help You e-file is available. So for a taxpayer going to a branch who sits with an agent, the same service is available via the contact center, and I think we even call you back, and it's a free call in terms of calling from a telecom. So we'll even call you back in terms of that service, so it need not cost you. Just very importantly, and it's a minor issue, just to note that our drop boxes we are phasing out. This goes back to many years ago where people used to have to drop their returns in the boxes. We are phasing those out. I think our returns via manual processes was less than 5,000 last year, and we will be phasing that out as we go and encouraging these people to utilize the e-filing. And then obviously we will have other counters available at our branches should taxpayers wish to upload their returns and documents. Transactions such as payments and the uploading of supporting documents can be done by e-filing, and I understand that SARS has increased the threshold of files from 2 megabytes to 5 megabytes for this filing season. Now this is a big move. We've had a lot of criticism that the 2 megabytes was insufficient, but just a reminder, it is 20 documents of 5 megabytes. It used to be 20 documents of 2 megabytes. So it's a significant change, and I really like to encourage people to utilize the mechanism of uploading and not come into a branch to upload those supporting documents. This is the primary aspect that we are dealing with in filing season. Move people to the electronic channels. Let's get them out the branches. It benefits primarily the taxpayer. Obviously, SARS has got a benefit in terms of managing the volumes in the queues. Just a couple of other initiatives, and I'm not going to dwell on this at length. There's a few other initiatives flowing from the Ombuds report, and which we'll deal with in a moment, just to touch on. But we are this year giving priority to current year's assessments. In other words, if a taxpayer files a current year assessment, it will get priority over another taxpayer who comes in to file a return of 3 years ago. And we are giving priority to taxpayers current year. We believe that we should give priority to compliant taxpayers, and we obviously will assess them in time and deal with the audits in time. So while it is welcome that taxpayers bring their tax affairs up to date, the submission of outstanding returns for prior years makes processing returns for the current year of assessment quite challenging. Refunds due on individual income tax returns will be released only if the individual taxpayer is not facing any audits for the prior year's assessment. In the case of VAT, however, VAT returns will be assessed per period, and refunds due will be released per period despite audits underway for prior periods. We'll be making further announcements when we make certain other adjustments to the income tax system, where we will be releasing income tax refunds per period as well. Where an assessment on one return may reflect a refund due, there may be instances where prior returns may reflect that a taxpayer needs to make a payment. These amounts will be offset against each other, and the taxpayer will be notified of the outcome. Very importantly, this year we've increased, there's a specific communication to taxpayers during the transaction and processes. Specifically for audit letters, we'll be more specific about what SARS requires. In the past years, we gave a blanket letter as such. You had to submit all your documents. For taxpayers where there's a single risk identified, we will be identifying that single risk and tell the taxpayer only to submit that single document. From our engagement with practitioners, they believe this will be a big win, and we believe it will reduce the volume of data having to be uploaded to us. Just a couple of other areas: enhanced case selection. There's a whole tranche of aspects relating to case selection that we'll be dealing with. And then very importantly, this year we are pre-populating additional fields in our tax return. We indicated retirement annuities, certain aspects on the medical fields we are pre-populating. And this is a journey. We'd love to get to a point that we can pre-populate the return in its entirety. That will never be possible when you've got your own business, though. But we'd love to get there, and that is the direction that we will be taking. We will continue to issue penalties for late submission, and these will be imposed and ultimately will lead to prosecution. We still get people, and I want to reiterate this, Minister, it comes back to compliance in our country, where we have taxpayers who are outstanding, and for 37 months they're prepared to pay the penalty and still not submit the tax return. And one just wonders what people are hiding in those tax returns. And we will thereafter start prosecuting people. We have to start prosecuting people who just willfully continue to disobey the laws of the land. No matter what excuses can be advanced, to not file a return for 37 months is a shame, and we need as a country to grab hold of the issue of compliance in our country. It is for the good of our country, and people need to buy into that going forward, that people do the right thing by filing the returns. There are a number of other initiatives that we are busy with, and I'm not going to dwell on them at all at length, but just to say, safe to say that we are looking at the large business center or sector as a whole, how we better serve them. We are looking at the whole illicit, and as you would have heard us a few weeks ago in Parliament, the illicit economy as such. We are looking to enhance our teams specifically focused on those sectors. They need a specific focus if we are to meet the target that I know the Minister is wanting to hold me to account, that we give in the 1.345 trillion, Minister. And we have to implement a better service for our taxpayers on the one side. And on the other side, we have to start nailing down on the illicit traffic of tobacco, fuel, alcohol, and whatever other goods there might be out there. Round-tripping of containers, fictitious declarations that are going on, money is being taken out the country where they should not be taken out the country. Very importantly this year, and I'm going to jump to the service charter. This year we made an indication a few weeks ago that we would be launching on the 1st of July the service charter for the country. Today it gives me great, I suppose happiness is one thing, but pride in another way, to launch the service charter to the public. And it is a set of basically what we will deliver to you. What's the timelines that you can expect from us? And it's an important document. The last one I think we issued was in 2007. Thomas, it's somewhere 2007 to 9, somewhere in that area. We haven't updated it, and if you consider how SARS has moved in the last 10 years from basically a manual process to primarily an electronic business, as such with the submission of returns, it gives me much happiness to release today the service charter. And I would urge that people peruse that document. There's a number of timelines that are placed on SARS, but there's two aspects that I want to focus on. And the one is there's an obligation on taxpayers to act in a way, an honest way. Make sure your declarations are correct. Do it timeously. Do it honestly. Don't claim fictitious deductions. I always say if you're getting a refund and you know you're not due it, just go double check your return. Make sure. But what we promise to you as the South African public is that we will be professional, we'll be courteous, we're going to treat our taxpayers with utmost respect, and anything to the contrary of that, that we are going to try and improve, that we don't provide bad service, that you don't have long queues. Now it's a journey. If I think of poor Dan, he's got 800 in the queue for Eniging this morning. We can't do it overnight. That's why we're pushing other channels. But we want to provide a professional, a good service to the South African public, a service that we are proud of, and that makes us a top-notch organization within the state. And that is our commitment to the South African public. We really want to do what is right. Just in conclusion, we are taking stock of how we can be more efficient. I've indicated that, and improve the service. This requires that we make better use of our resources and factor in feedback from taxpayers on what their pain points are. This is a work in progress, and we will be refining our initiatives with every tax season over the next 2 years, taking on board the lessons learned. Be assured that we are committed to ensuring that SARS is an efficient, credible, world-class revenue authority. With that, I'd invite you to file that return. I haven't filed mine yet, by the way. I have looked at it online, but I haven't filed. But join us in filing the return. So I'd ask the media, if you need help with filing your return, we'll do that outside and definitely try and assist you. We have made filing far more simple, and we trust that you will benefit from this as we go from here. Thank you very much.
So the minister is going to come and give us his message. So there's very interesting things that are sitting on the service charter. Some of those interesting things include that when you engage with us, we will answer your call within 4 minutes during peak season, which is now. And we will answer your call within 1 minute during off-peak season. And we will call you within 2 days, 2 business days, where additional specialist support is required. And we also will promise you that you can expect that we are going to be fair to you, and that we are expecting you to pay only what is due under the law. We'll treat everyone equally. and we will ensure that everyone pays their fair share, and that we are going to inform you if and when prescribed time frames cannot be met. I think it is crucial that the South African public familiarize themselves with this document called the Service Charter, because it will resolve a number of expectations, but it will as well clarify the kind of things that you should hold us accountable to. When you call, you can be able to say, page so and so in your service charter, this is what you're promising me, and you are not meeting that, and therefore I have a responsibility to escalate the matter. Minister Nene.
Thank you, Hlengani, and thanks to the Acting Commissioner for his elaborate input. I don't know why you guys say the Minister is going to deliver a keynote address when you correctly pointed out that it is you guys that are the celebs. Because and I've learned the hard way of not taking other people's jobs. I tried my hand at the call center, and it didn't work. Now, it's a good lesson that everybody must stick to what is in your KPAs and what you get paid for. Tried talking to, yes, I like that. Mark, what's the number? 1345. I mean, if we could all focus on the number is 1345. Every staff member, everyone must know that's what is in your KPA, 1345. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the official opening of the tax season 2018. We'll start by saying that government is seized with three objectives currently, which are to stabilize SARS, to restore the credibility of the institution, and to strengthen the capacity of SARS to collect revenue and to meet the revenue targets. And it's for that reason that I want the number to always ring in people's heads. It's 1345. That's nothing less, nothing more. Don't give us more than that. I hate people, overshooting the mark. Just stick to 1345. So, with that, and in this regard, there are two processes on the government side that are underway, which is the Commission of Inquiry into the Tax Administration and the governance in SARS that was appointed by the President, which began its hearings last week. The second is the disciplinary hearing of the SARS Commissioner, a process that is also driven by the Presidency. And I think we should allow the two processes to run their course. And the Acting Commissioner has also indicated what are the initiatives that he's working on to strengthen the administrative capacity of SARS, which are aimed at improving the efficiency in revenue collection and also advance the issues of compliance and service delivery. The Ministry of Finance and National Treasury continue to work with SARS management team to ensure that the institution stays the course and that it delivers on its mandate. The statutory mandate of SARS is pleasingly, the clearest compared to those given to most government agencies. Section 3 of the South African Revenue Services Act, which establishes the institution as a public entity, states that the objective of SARS is just the efficient and effective collection of revenue, period. It is therefore doubtful that there is any single agency in government whose operational performance is more critical to the work of government than the South African Revenue Services. It is common knowledge that government would not be able to meet its social objectives without the taxes and other revenues that are collected by SARS. When spent effectively and efficiently, these revenues can contribute immensely to the improvement of the skills and the living standards of all fellow South Africans. Therefore, there can be no mission more important than stabilizing and restoring SARS into an institution that is credible in the eyes of the South African public. SARS is key to socio-economic development We want SARS to do its work without fear, favor, prejudice, and to do so optimally. Now, as you launch the tax season today, this launch is primarily not about how much revenue SARS will be able to collect. It is about compliance. It is about all taxpayers complying with their obligations to submit their returns that they are required to submit. It is for that reason that it's concerning that you had Mark that you're talking about people who have not submitted their returns for over 3 years. I find it, very, very strange that people could actually break such laws. And what's interesting is that those that are not supposed to file are the ones that come through. Those that are supposed to file are the ones that stay behind. We need to find a reason for that. Let me also congratulate SARS on the release of the SABC Charter, outlining the rights and obligations of taxpayers and the service standards that they can expect from SARS. To the women and men who work for SARS, I know that you must be very anxious about the process currently underway regarding the leadership of SARS. All I can promise you is that SARS is too important an institution, and we shall do all in our power to ensure that it lives up to its mandate. From my previous role as both Deputy Minister and Minister, I know how hard you work to serve taxpayers in South Africa in general. I'm sure this year will be no different, and for that, South Africa owes you a great debt of gratitude. Of course, Mark, the target is 1345. 1345. That's just a number. Therefore, I want to take this opportunity to thank the Acting Commissioner, Mr. Mark Kingon, for holding the fort with his leadership team and for providing excellent leadership to the men and women of this wonderful organization. And thank you very much.
Minister, thanks so much for clarifying the expectations to South African public that you expect of them to pay 1345, and that SARS, on the other hand, is expected to process it and deliver it to you to then redistribute it back to the South Africans. Just back into the Service Charter, SARS promises to respect your constitutional rights and privacy by keeping your tax affairs strictly confidential, furnishing you with reasons for decision taken regarding your tax and customs affair, applying the law consistently and impartially. In return, SARS expects you to be honest, to submit full and accurate information on time, comply with all prescribed administrative process and time frames, pay your tax and or duties on time and in full using the correct payment reference numbers. Encourage others to pay their taxes and or duties on time and in full, not encourage or be party to any corrupt activity or fraud in any form, ensures that SARS has your correct personal information and payment details, take responsibility for your tax affairs even if you have authorized someone to act on your behalf, show our staff respect just as they are expected to respect you. If someone else acts on your behalf, we expect the same respect from them too. Clearly, this is going to be one of the best read documents in South Africa, and I expect